Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and it's my Lishi here, or Miss Tuo, or Mama Mari. So today, as I promised, I will be doing a story time in regards to how I survived Garissa University. So here we are. So let's start from how it all started. So I remember it was in 2015, in the month of April, that is on the 2nd. So the 1st of April, as you know, is a Fool's Day. So the 1st of April, we actually got a threat sent to us through a note. But since we had received a couple number of them before, we didn't pay pay so much attention to it. And before, earlier on, whenever we got the threats, we would go home. But this time, we did not. I did not even give it a thought. I remember there's a school that was nearby, that is Teachers College, and at that time when they had the threats, they actually went home. So that is on the 1st of April now, and remember it's a Fool's Day, so some of us took it as a Fool's Day, as someone trying to fool us. So fast forward, on that day, I called my dad because it was the Easter period. So I told him that I would like to join them in the Easter celebrations, and he said that's okay. So he lived in Mwingi, and from Garissa to where I come from, you have to pass through Mwingi. So I told him to just wait for me at Mwingi so that you can just go home with him. And we agreed on me leaving very early so that we can meet early in the morning and travel home. So I set my alarm to be at 4:30 a.m. on the 2nd of April. So it's now the 2nd of April. At 4:30 a.m. my alarm rang and I was up. But as some of us do, when you wake up, you start scrolling through the phone to check what's texted you, who has posted on Facebook, who has posted on Instagram. So I was busy looking through the phone, and at that time I had a loud bang. So I asked my roommates if they had had the same, and they told me that they didn't. So I didn't give it a thought. So the second time there was another bang the second time. So I asked them if they still had the same, and they said that this time they did. But we didn't even think about it, so we went on with whatever we were doing. So the third time there was another bang, but this time the bang came with a big light on from our hostel window, and at that point we now knew that all was not well. So we all ran from our rooms towards the balcony. So at this point everyone was everywhere. Some were actually naked, some with the inner clothes. As you know, there is a very hot place there. So most of us actually, we slept with very light clothes. So at that point, some people ran and jumped through the fence. But as for me and my roommates, we decided let's go back in and lock ourselves in the room. And we actually did that. So we actually went in and locked the room, and at this point the gunshots were now so loud, and they were now back to back. So I called my dad, and I was crying, and I was asking, and I was telling him that I can hear gunshots and I do not know what is happening. So he asked me if we had not planned on a strike. I told him no, there was no strike that had been planned. So he then tells me, let me call you back, let me confirm what is going on, and I'll give you a call. So I told him to send me credit so that he can update me in case of anything. So he then sends me credit, and a few minutes later he calls back, and this time the gunshots were now so many and they are so loud. So he tells me that he had confirmed that there was nothing, and he goes ahead and asks me where I was, and I told him it was another bed. So he tells me to just stay there and not to leave the room, and in case of any knock we should not open unless they tell me or they tell us the other are here. So I did that. So it was now, the gunshots are now back to back, back to back. We got to around 11 a.m. So at this point now, the KDF already at school, and we could now hear gunshots from this side and gunshots from this other side. So we were thinking they were now shooting at each other. And at this point now, we were having ambulances coming in school. So I was there asking my roommates, why do we even have ambulances? Because it never got to me that they would actually be people getting hurt or getting to even die. So at that point, one of my roommates says, I don't know why, but I feel like we have people getting hurt. And I did not want to entertain that thought. So I told her, no, there's no way anyone is getting hurt. They are probably trying to scare us or something. So we wait to now around 12 p.m., 1 p.m. And at this point now, we hear a knock on the other side of the hostel. So how the hostels were built, we had the hostels facing each other. So the hostel on the other side of our room, we now hear a knock, and the man goes ahead and asks, "Kuna watu ndani?" So at this point now, we are now scared because we do not know who is knocking on the door, and we do not know what to do. So I called my dad very fast, and I told him that on the other side of the rooms I can hear gunshot. I can hear someone knocking on the door and asking if there's someone inside. And my dad froze for a minute, and later on he came to say that at that point when I told him that there was someone knocking on the other side, he felt helpless, and at that point he just told, "Boy, I've left this child in your hands," because at that point he could not help me. So he goes ahead and tells me, if they knock on your door, do not open unless they say they are in KDF. And I told him that's okay. And he hangs up and now wait. So like 5 to 10 minutes later, we hear the same knock on our door. And this time the guy goes ahead and says, "Kuna watu ndani?" So we just looked at each other and we did not say anything. So the second time the knock was, there was another knock, and he says the same thing, "Kuna watu ndani?" Still do not respond. So the third time he says, "Kuna watu ndani in KDF?" Tell me why I was the first to run and open the door. I feel like I was so anxious to just get out of the room, and the minute I heard they were the KDF, I was so fast to open. So I opened, and luckily it was the KDF. And why I'm saying it was luckily, why I'm saying it was, I was lucky that it was the KDF. It's because the attackers were actually using the same words to trick the students from the other hostel. And so now the KDF asked me if I was alone, and I told them that I had some other people inside, and they got in and told them to just stand up and and they were going to take us to a safe place. So as I knew, Garissa, you cannot walk around without your ID, and I was busy going back to pick my ID. So I think therefore they're asking me, "What are you doing?" So I told them that I'm getting my ID. So they told me, "No, just leave as you are and let's go." So now we were having 2 KDFs in the front, 2 KDFs at the back, and some other 2 on the side. So as we now walk down the stairs, I see a lot of blood, and it now hits me that we actually have people getting hurt. And I was so shocked. So I just walked down the stairs. We just walked down the stairs, and we were moved to a place behind the hostel, so we had some other survivors there. And I was so happy to meet my friends. And so let me take you back a little bit. So when I was in the hostel, I had called my friends and texted them, asking them if they were okay, and none of them answered me apart from one. So one of them texted me back, and his name was Alex. So I asked him where he was, and he told me that he was under the bed. So I went ahead and told him I'm also under the bed. Just be patient, you will get help. So and that is the last time I heard from him. So when we got to the place behind the hostel, the KDF were now asking us if we know of anyone that is still trapped inside, so that they can get quick help, him or her. And I told him that yes, I know of someone, and the KDF told me to call the person or even text him so that he can know what he was. And I did so. So when I texted him, he didn't text back. When I called him, he didn't call. So he told me probably he's among the people that ran outside the school, or he's probably inside the hostel, but he's going to get help. So now it was time to leave the place that it was now time to leave the place that we had been assembled. So we were now supposed to leave the hostel side and move to the field side, and now run from the field to the main gate. And it was quite a distance. So between the hostel and the field, we had a fence, and it was a barbed fence. So the KDF now lifted the fence, and we were now supposed to crawl through the fence to the other side, that is the field side. And we did so. We crawled to the other side of the field. That once we were on the other side, the KDF now advised us to now run. When they told us to run, we were now supposed to run. But once we hear gunshots, we were supposed to lie down. Once the gunshots died down, we were supposed now to start running, and the same cycle. So now we had trenches in Garissa, that is in our university, and we were supposed now to get into those trenches and now run using the trenches. But once we had the gunshots, we would lie down. So it was now time to run. So 1, 2, it was now time to run. Now we started running in a row. So we would run. After some time, we would hear gunshots, lie down. Once the gunshots would die down, we would start running. We would start running. Once the gunshots were now getting back to back, we would stand up and we would lie down. So it got to a point, because it was a distance from the field to the main gate, it was quite a distance. So it got to a point that I was now tired and I was giving up. I was like, no, I'm not ready. So one of my friends was behind me. He got to me and he was asking me, "Unafanya nini?" So I told him, "I'm tired, I'm not running." So he told me, "No, kuja tukimbie." So he held my hand and we started running. So we ran. When we had gunshots, we would lie down. When they would die down, we would now start running. So the same cycle continued until we got to the gate. So when we got to the gate, we actually saw some more people who were at the gates that had been saved, or who had been saved from the second side, not from the main hostel, from other hostels that were on the side. So at that point, it was a happy moment to see each other. We would hug each other. We would now ask each other, "Have you seen so and so? Have you seen so and so?" Yeah. It was a happy moment, I must say. So a few minutes later, we get a government official. We had come to say hi or something, I do not know. So at this point, we were so upset, because why was he even there? We didn't appreciate him being there, because at this point, all we needed was help from the skilled people, because at this point, we still had people being held hostage on the other side. So we head to hostels, that is the first year side and the second year side. And on our side, that is the first years, Our hostel was close to the main gates, which made us hear the gunshots earlier because the attackers started shooting the watchmen, and when they were shooting at the watchmen and the people and the CU members that were in the CU room, that is when we had the gunshots. So on the other side, that is the second year's hostel. It was a bit far, so by the time they were hearing the gunshots, it was way too late for them. So most of them were not able to run. So at this point, now the second year side, the highest number of them were now held hostage. And at this point now, the government, remember the government officials here, and no one is even giving him attention because at this point we do not need the attention, we only need assistance. So a few minutes later, some minutes later, we get a kifaru coming in. And those asking what a kifaru is the big machine that does not have wheels, has this chain things. I don't know how to explain it. I may post a picture of it there. But we have the kifaru coming in. So the reason as to why the kifaru was being fed to us is because we had a sniper, and the sniper would there was a sniper, and the sniper would shoot at the KDF, so it was so hard for them to get into the second year's hostel. So they used the kifaru to make a way for them to at least get near the hostel, or maybe get into the hostel. So later on, we were now told the people that already saved, that are already in the room near the gates, that we were now being sent to the KDF camp. So they now take us to a bus, and we board the bus, and now we were being taken to the KDF camp. So we got to the camp, and when we got to the camp, we now find a number of students now that are already there. So actually, the highest number was of the people that were saved were now already in the camp. That is the people that had already driven through the fence. So I now have my friends. Remember the friends I had texted and called trying to confirm where they were. They were now we now got to reunite at the camp, and it was such a happy moment because they actually thought I was not there anymore because I was the only one missing from our gang, yeah. So they were so excited to see me, and I was so excited to see them, and it was a very happy moment, hugging each other and all that. So at that point now, we were now sharing our experiences, how we got out, how my friends were now, how they also got out. And at that point now, all my friends were there apart from one. The guy that I had texted in the hostel, and the guy that had told me that he's under the bed, that is Alex. So right now, at that point, since we had already caught up with my other friends, so I was now looking for my other friend, that is Alex. So asking around from our mutual friends, they did not have any information about him. So we just said, let's just wait because we still have people coming in. He probably is somewhere outside, or maybe he's probably among the people being filmed, and he will be back. So fast forward, it's now 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m. So it's now 5 p.m. and that is when you have the blackest wait. Coming to see the people from the second year side, that is the people that we have hostage. And we were really angry because we didn't understand why we had the regular school coming to school by road, and from Nairobi to Garissa, that's a 6 hours drive. So it was so sad to have them coming to save us by road. It was so sad. And the reason being, that is the reason that you got to hear about later on, is because some government official was using their plane for personal reasons. It doesn't make sense. So, however much it's because of that, I do not understand how a whole defense force has only one plane. And if they actually do, we have a lot of airlines in Kenya. Why didn't they get some plane from the other airlines to at least try to get there on time? It didn't make sense. But anyway, Shakwa. So they got there. They were done with the operation within a few minutes, not even an hour. They were done with the operation in a very short period of time. So you can imagine if they got to our school earlier, how many lives would have been saved? Yeah. So I remember at that time there's a girl who was saved from the people that were held hostage, and she told us that the attackers had all the time to kill because they killed and they now were done with killing, and they were now seated storytelling and eating their mirage. So actually, by the time the records were getting to school, the damage was already done. The damage was already done. Yeah, because they were done with whatever they were doing and they were not relaxed, waiting for them to be killed probably, or maybe waiting for them to leave the school. I do not know, but they were done with the operation. So now the Wrecker squad were now in school. They killed the attackers and they saved the people that were still in the hostel, and that is when we had the girl who was eating lotion for survival because it was now a whole day without eating anything. It was just tragic. It was so messy. So they got to the camp at around 6 p.m., 7 p.m. around that time. So every time we had a trip coming in, I would go check if my friend was there, and every time I did so, I was disappointed. So we just hoped that he was somewhere, finding his way to us, or maybe he was in, I don't know. We were just hopeful that he was okay. So we now got, they now sent us to have lunch. And we were having lunch, and I must say, the food was good, and there was a lot of drinks that we were having there. And when it got to around 8 p.m., that is when they brought us some mattresses. And as you know, Garissa is a very hot, it's a dry place. So at the, we had a lot of thorns. So whenever you would lie down, ulikuwa na dunga na hizo thorns. We ukisema nimeishi kama jeshi, believe me, I have. So at this point we've already taken our supper and we were now lying on our mattresses. But remember, this was the first night, and we couldn't sleep because of what we had gone through the day. And for us to avoid getting nightmares and all that, we just sat there storytelling of other things apart from the attack, because it was in the night. We didn't want to sell fear among each other. Yeah. So we are now storytelling about a lot of things apart from the attack. So so now morning came. So in the morning we now got our breakfast. We now got it was just a normal day. We got breakfast and we were now just roaming around because there was nothing else to do. So we asked if we would be taken home, but unfortunately they told us that we can't go home because they were still having investigations done from the hostels to confirm, to look through the hostels to see if we still have other survivors inside. So we said that's okay, we'll just wait for communication, for them to communicate. So fast forward, during the day we had pictures circulating, and there were pictures of the people that had been killed in the CU room and the people that were killed in the civilian side, that is the hostel that they were held hostage. And at this point it was so traumatizing to look at pictures of the people that you were schooling with, people that you know, they were not in lying on a lot of blood. It was so traumatic, it was so sad, and people are crying, people are shouting, screaming, because you couldn't imagine your friend is not home, and in the worst way, yeah. So at that point, I would look through the pictures, and I did not see my friend, so I thought. So fast forward after that, we got to the night. We did the same, took our mattresses, lied on them the whole night, storytelling, some storytelling, some sleeping. We now got to the morning. That was on Saturday now. So on Saturday, we were now told we can now go home, but we would not be going home with anything. They would not bring the clothes to us, because they still had to have investigations done through the rooms, and they would bring the clothes back to us after some time. So it was now time to go home, and they segmented us, or rather they sectioned us according to our routes. People from Mombasa, people from Nairobi, people from Embu, people from Kirinyaga. So we were all segmented according to where you live. So at that point, I called my dad and told him that we were now coming home, and I told him of where I would be meeting him. He told me that's okay. So we now boarded our buses. We were living with they were taking us home with the NYS buses. So we boarded our buses and left. So a few minutes later, not a few minutes later, a few hours later, let's say 6 hours later, yes, 6 hours later, I called my dad and told him I'm almost getting home. He told me that's okay, he's ready, they are waiting for me. So I remember that time when I got to the place we were meeting with my parents. I alighted from the bus so fast and ran towards them. My dad being an African dad, I had never ever gotten a hug from him. But that day, that was the first time I got a hug from him, and it was so emotional. And I would say that has been my happiest day till now, because the emotions were too much. I must say the emotions were too much at that time. There was a lot of crying, a lot of hugging from my mom, from my dad, from my auntie. There was an auntie like them to support them, and also from a family friend. And we now decided, after we were done with the emotional part, trying hugging each other, and it was now time to go now to our house where we live now. So sisi hao tukaenda kwa nyumba. So we got to the house, and I said hi to a number of people who were now at our place, who had come to give support to my parents. So it was now time we were now seated. No, we actually said took a moment of prayer as we thanked God for what He had done. And at this point now, they were trying, once we were done with the prayers, we were now seated just chilling, and they were trying so much to avoid to talk to me about the incidents. But me being myself, I like talking about things so that I can feel a bit lighter. So at that point, I was just talking, telling them how the experience was, how a certain person escaped, how so and so ran out of the room and out of the school. And they were just listening. They didn't ask questions because they did not know what exactly was okay with me sharing, what would trigger me into crying or something. So they were just seated and listening to me. And around that time, I get a call, and this time, I get a call, and I get a voice. I get a man say asking me if I know. Hi, sasa Gladys poa. Najua mtu anaitwa Mwire. So I go ahead and told him no, simjui. And he goes ahead and tells me, Anito Alex, Jinengine. So it now dawns on me that it's the Alex, that is my friend Alex. And I told him that no, I've been looking for him, but I do not have any information about him. But in case you hear about him, just let me know. So he told me that he's Alex's uncle, and he would let me know in case they get any information about him. So that was it. So that was on Saturday. So we slept through the night, and then on Sunday morning we left for church to have our Thanksgiving. So we did our Thanksgiving at church, and the atmosphere was so bad at church. People cried with me, and I must say I appreciated so much the support that I got from our church. And once we were done with the service, we went home, and I had some friends coming over to give me support. And we're now seated with them and storytelling about a lot of things apart from the attack. And at that point, it was now around lunchtime, and I get a call from Alex's uncle. And this time he tells me, habari yako Gladys, poa. He sounded so excited, and he goes ahead and tells me, umesikia kuhusu Alex? And I'm like, no, bado sijasikia. And he goes ahead and says, tumempata. And I was so happy because you can tell from his voice that it's good news. And I go ahead and ask him, ako wapi? And he tells me, we are kwa mochari. That was the hardest. That I never felt so much pain. I dropped the phone and started crying. And I started crying and screaming, saying, Alex, Alex. So my dad was at the balcony, and he came running. And he was mad at everyone around me because he thought they were the ones that broke the news to me. So he was there comforting me, telling me no, hajakufa, but yet I knew he was not there. So he comforted me after some time. After I was now calm, he told me now to go join my friends so that I can distract myself. So I went, joined my friends. We spent time talking about a lot of things, but the whole time as we were talking, I was just looking at the conversation that we had with Alex, and the whole time I was just asking myself, the last time we talked, you told me that you were under the bed, then what happened? You know, I would look through the phone, through his profile picture, through his status, and I kept questioning myself what happened. And it was so sad. It was so hard for me to let go and actually accept that he was gone. Because way later, like every night after that, I was dreaming about him telling me that he was not dead. He's actually somewhere looking for a way to get to us. And I must say, it took a while for me to accept that. So fast forward, that is what happened. So fast forward, we now had burials planned for the departed souls, and I went to a couple number of them. I also went to Alex's burial, and yeah, that is what happened. And I can say it was not an easy journey to get to where I am, that I'm telling the story on camera, or even when I did share the story on TikTok. It has been a journey, and I can say I'm healed. I feel like I'm healed, but I'm not fully healed, but I'm healed. Because if I'm actually telling this story without shedding a tear, she's in a better place. So my message to the families of the departed souls, I will say that I'm so sorry that you have to relieve the emotions and relieve the moments by watching this video, by watching my video on TikTok, by seeing the comments on the videos. But I know that what you lost will be restored. If you have not gotten the restoration of what you lost, it is on the way. He's a God of the restoration, and He gets that restored to you. And I pray that God gives you comfort and that He gives you acceptance and also that He gives you healing, that you may heal from the traumas, heal from the loss. And for my fellow survivors, I I know it's not easy. And for me to get to where I am, I do not expect that everyone is where I am. We do not have a timeline of healing. Some might not be healed, some might have already healed. And what I will say is take your time, look for what works for you. If you want to share with a professional, then do so. And I believe and pray that that God will give you healing, that God will give you a peace of mind, that you may be able to move on from what happened. And for the departed souls, you rest in peace. We miss you, and you still matter. And we always keep on remembering you. 147 is not just a number. And that is it for today, guys. I might do a video later on of my life after the attack. But as for now, have a lovely day. And for those that are new here, kindly subscribe, like, share, and comment down below. And thank you so much, the TikTok family. You have given me so much love, and I didn't expect the much love that I'm getting right now. You have taken me far. I was just sharing a story, but you guys have given me a good reception. You've given me a good audience, and yeah, let me just say thank you. Now, have yourself a lovely day and a lovely stay. Bye.